everyone, and welcome to episode 4 of Relegation Rescue at Portimonense with me, the United City FM. Welcome along. Great to have you with me. So, loads going on at the moment. We're in the middle of a 3-match run against really big opposition in the top league of Portugal. I've already played Braga. I'll update you on that. And today is the mighty Benfica. Let's see how we get on. So, as I say, we are in the middle of a really tricky run at the moment. We'll get to that in just a second, but there's some housekeeping that I need to do just to start this episode. So, my new schedule for FM21 is going to be the 5 days of the week. I'm not going to be releasing content regularly on the weekends. I'm going to be doing some other bits here and there for the weekends, like when we record maybe the Creators Championship, etc. That might happen on the weekend. So I'm not going to be releasing content Saturday and Sunday. So after this episode, Friday, I will see you back here on Monday for episode 5 of Relegation Rescue. So I hope that's okay with you. But that's what we're doing as we move forward, at least for a little while. If things change, I'll let you know. But 5 days a week. In the weekdays, that's what we're going to be doing in releasing content. So I will see you again on Monday evening. The other thing that I want to tell you about is that this weekend you won't be without me totally. If you go and check out Salmon FM, he has got a podcast called Football Moaning, and I'll leave the links in the description below. And this weekend he's releasing another podcast episode of his Football Moaning show, and I'm going to be the guest on it. So I hope that on Sunday when that drops, you'll go and check that out. Please do that. Please go and check it out. Support him. Give him all the love in the world, and drop a like on the video for him. Maybe subscribe to his channel if you liked what he was doing, and check out the other bits of content that he's got going on over there. But yeah, it's really important to me that if we're going to guest on a show like that this group of people, our United City community, go and support that content as much as possible. So if you could do that for me, that would be absolutely amazing. And before we get into the episode, I might as well do it all now. Subscribe to the channel if you're new and you haven't already, and join my United City community. That way you'll keep up to date with all the videos that I release. Click a like button on this particular episode. That'll help me get seen by lots of other people. It gets the community eyes on it. So that's really important. Go and check out all the links in the description below to the podcast, as I say, but also to my own stuff of Discord and Twitter and merchandise, Patreon. If you're interested in supporting the channel, there's loads of ways to do it there. And that will all be fantastic to help me continue to grow the channel. So that's all the admin out the way. Monday evening for the next episode of Relegation Rescue. Go and check out Football Moanings on Sunday when that comes out, and go and check all the links in the description below. Let's get into this particular episode though, and check out where we've been recently, because we've been playing some really tricky sides. So in the last episode that you and I were together for, we played Boa Vista and we got a 1-0 win. We followed it up against Madeira with a 4-2 win. It was actually a really good performance. I was very happy with it. You can see that we got plenty of goals in there, and from 4 different scorers as well, which is really great to see that people are contributing to the way that we play, which is fantastic. Then unfortunately we played Braga, and now Braga are sitting top of the table at the moment, and we only lost 1-0 to them. I say only, it's still a loss. We didn't win the points, that's fair enough. But considering a couple of weeks back we were sitting on bottom of the table and looking out of it, and Braga are sitting top, to lose 1-0 I think isn't that bad, to be honest, and it proved that we can compete with some of the bigger sides in this division, and on our day maybe things could have been slightly different. And today it doesn't get any easier at all, does it? We play Benfica. If we go to the table, we'll see that Benfica are sitting in 3rd position currently, behind Porto and Braga, but they've played a few less games than the other two as well. So they are going to be in and around that title chase, aren't they? So we've got a real challenge on our hand again today, but that's okay. This is what we're here to do. We are here to play all of the teams as much as we can and try and compete as much as we can. And today is going to be a real challenge against Benfica, but let's see how we get on. So you won't be surprised to know that the tactic and the formation, the style of play isn't changing from what we've been doing recently, because it's been mostly working very, very well. Even in defeat against Braga, we did okay. So that stays exactly the same. The only bit of news in terms of personnel is that Vitinho has come back from being with the Brazil under-23 squad, I think it was, whatever it was. So he's back. So we're not going to chuck him in straight away. We're going to put him on the bench and try and bring him in gradually and see what he can bring to the striking party for us. So Marquez stays up top for us. Beto drops out of the squad. That is pretty much the only major injury, the only major injury, I should say, is still the one to Fernandez, and that's going to be long term. Other than that, we've got a couple of little knocks on the bench, but nothing that will stop them coming on later in the game if need be. So it's all looking pretty good. We are gradually getting a team shape together that's working, and a group of players that are beginning to learn how to play together, which is fantastic. And we've got a couple of additional quality players on the bench, which give us ways to change it up should we need it later in matches. So it's all looking pretty good, I would say. And for today's game, against a real top-level opposition in Benfica, we're going with Ferreira in goal, Mufi at right back, Anzi at left back, Maurizio and Roca in central defence, with Saar, Rashid and Denner in central midfield, Job on the right, Messias on the left, and Marquez up top, and a 9-man bench. So let's get into today's game and see what happens. So we've calmly gone with let's give a good performance despite the odds being against us here. There's no point in denying they are an exceptional side, and we've got to do the best that we can today. So that is in the intention. We are going to try and show up, compete as much as we can, and really give it a good go. They're playing a straight 4-4-2, which is an interesting formation to come up against in our asymmetric style of 4-4-2. So we'll see where the gaps are and where we can exploit them, and hopefully where they struggle to exploit us a little bit. So let's go into kickoff, and we'll allow the teams to come out and prepare themselves to a partly empty stadium, it must be said. I don't know what's gone on there particularly. Obviously in real terms today, that's an interesting subject, isn't it? But I'd expected a few more fans in the stadium. Maybe we're not a big enough draw to play against them, but we have caused ourselves a huge problem in the first 5 minutes of the match. And it was Maurizio, our central defender, got sent off. Okay. Within 5 minutes, we are down to 10 men against one of the real big boys in this particular league. Okay. Yeah, what we're going to do here. So we are going to have to take off, I suspect, one of our attacking midfield players. And it's probably going to have to be Denner in the centre, I would think. So if we take Denner off and we bring in Posignolo, and then we're going to have to move him into the defensive area. And that's as good as we can do, really. And now, whilst we were completely up against it before, we're now really up against it, aren't we? So what we're going to do, what we're going to try and do, we've got, at the moment, we're 5 minutes in. I don't know necessarily whether I want to spend the entire game trying to hold out against a really big side like Benfica. But then I don't want to open us up too much either. I think for now, I'm going to leave it as it is. We've got a decent way of playing for 10 men in terms of being able to play the vertical tiki-taka and short, sharp passes. We're going to stay positive for a little while. And if it doesn't work, then ultimately, I think it's going to be one of those days where it might not matter what we do. And we're going to struggle maybe against them, but we'll still see whether we can carve out an opportunity or two along the way. But I suspect that Benfica are now going to control the ball even more than they did, and they're going to get chances like that. And then within 8 minutes, we are 1-0 down. I don't know whether there's much we can do about this, folks. I think we're in for a bumpy ride for the next 80 minutes or so of this match. I think we'll drop our positivity down a little bit once this highlight has gone and I'm enabled to do it. We'll probably drop it into the cautious and just see if we can protect the ball a little bit. We've already got it on short passing, etc. So there's no need to change any of that. And we've just got to try as much as we can to try and keep the ball without making silly errors with it. The goalkeeper goes long on that occasion and we lose it. And that's where we're going to lose the ball, isn't it? They're going to press us enough to make us have to go long. And we're lucky to get it back. But we do get it back. And it's hopefully we're going to be able to occasionally counter-attack on them. But there's the problem. We attempted it. We got caught out. And then immediately they're down the other end having a shot at goal. And on this occasion, we managed to block it for a corner. But that's the problem we're always going to have. And unless... Oh, I don't even know what the unless was going to be. I think we're going to really struggle. 18 minutes in, though, we are only 1-0 down, so that's a positive. For the last 10 minutes, we've kept them out, although they've had a couple of half chances. And now we get a corner kick for ourselves, and these are what we've got to take control of and do something with. And what happened there? Is he going to look for a penalty kick? I think he is. He's going to go and check the screen for a penalty kick. There was a kerfuffle in the box from that corner kick that came in for us. And if we could get a goal from a corner kick, that would be amazing at this point. I don't know how else we'd get into the game necessarily. So out comes the ref. What's the decision going to be? And it is... penalty kick awarded. Now we've got to keep our heads and really find a way to put this in the back of the net. And who is it that stepped up? It's Fabrizio Messias. And he does. He puts it in the back of the net and we are 1-1 at 21 minutes. And that is the little bit of good fortune that we needed, really. For the first 10 minutes or so of this match, we caused ourselves no end of issues. Absolutely. But now... just a little bit of glimmer of hope that if we could get through to half-time at 1-1, maybe there is something for us in this particular match. But let's not talk too early. We're at 32 minutes. We've got another 10-15 minutes to go now of the first half. Can we suppress the game enough, keep hold of the ball and really get them chasing shadows a little bit and just hold out? And we've managed to get through to half-time at 1-1. And it's an interesting one, isn't it? So the XG for them is 1.04 and they got their goal. Ours is 0.87. So we're just above the curve on what we've created compared to what we've scored. That's not too bad at all. I'm really happy that we managed to get in at half-time at 1-1. Do we change anything for the second half? I don't think we do at the moment. No, I don't think we do. So we're just going to, no gesture. Keep it very simple. Let's see which one we want to go with. Yeah, let's go with, I know that we're a man down, but we've still got to go out and give a performance for the fans to cheer for. So we'll do that. And then once we go into the shouts, we'll encourage them, I think. Just a little bit of an encouragement to start the second half. And the second half has started even worse than the first half did. 46 minutes in, 1 minute into the second half, and Benfica from a throw-in down the right-hand side. Eventually, Almeida gets enough space to whip across into that far post, and Everton had dropped off of his fullback, come into the area and put the whole ball home for a 2-1 lead. And now we've got dilemmas, haven't we, really? Because we're sitting quite cautiously. We're using quite short, sharp passes. Are we going to have to open up a little bit in the last sort of 20 minutes of the game just to see if we can go a bit longer maybe and get a couple of attempts at goal? I think that's what we're going to have to think about. But it's Benfica with one last highlight before we make those changes. And we nick the ball from Job gets the ball, but then there was nobody up top. Our striker Marquez hadn't held his position up there at all, and so there was no out ball for us at all, and it came back at us for a little while. But again we pick up the loose ball, and this time it's Macias down that left hand side who gets barged off the ball, but there was no foul given. And again it's Benfica coming back at us, and it's Gilberto down the right hand side right at the touchline, but now we've got a player out to him. We don't get the block in though, and they get the cross into the near post, and the first shot gets blocked, and the second cross comes in and we get it cleared again. and they're still piling on the pressure, but we're going to pause the game just at the point where they've got a corner kick, and we're going to have to make our changes. So into the tactics page that we go. We're just going to see where we can make some improvements. So Job down the right hand side, we're going to take him out. He's struggling a little bit today. So Morte comes in. We're going to take Marquez out and put Vitinho up top. He's got a lot of pace, 15 I think it is on pace maybe. So that will get us a runner behind them in up front. So we're going to change his role and we're going to make him the advanced forward and just see whether we can get anything from that. We are going to go slightly more positive and we are going to change it up in terms of the style of play. I think we're going to go direct counter-attack. So we're going to draw them in and then potentially counter-attack them and hit them on the break with the pace of Vitinho. What other changes can we make that will make sense to us moving forward? So we've got some slightly lower fitness. So we're going to take Anzi out and put Candy in the left fullback position. We're going to take Sarr out and put Oliveira in. And I think that is our 5 substitutions. So we're going to leave it there. Lots of change, I do understand that, but fresh legs are what was needed. And we've changed the style up as well. Let's see how that goes. Can we use the pace of Vitinho over the top? I really hope so, but it's a corner kick to Benfica first. And they make us pay again. And those are the unfortunate things that we should be eliminating, really. When it's open play and they've got the extra man, I kind of get that they're able to get past us. When it's a set piece like that and we can set ourselves up and they get a simple header at the back post to get a third goal, those are the goals I'm not so happy about conceding today when we're causing ourselves enough problems as it is. And we're now 3-1 down with about 10 minutes to go with the addition of a couple of minutes of injury time. And it looks like we're done at 3-1. And we didn't really get a chance to show ourselves at all, did we, in this match because of that early sending off. And there's one last highlight to come from Benfica down this left-hand side. Please don't make it 4. And we do. We get it cleared, but only partially. Again, there's that attacking midfield area that we're not getting enough bodies in to be able to pick up the loose ball. And Vitinho loses out in the attacking area for us. And again, it's Benfica down the right-hand side. Gilberto, good foot in by Macias. And apparently he could be in trouble here again. And what are they looking for this time? It was a simple challenge. Why is he going to the screen to look at it? If it's that severe, he's looking for a red card. Another one. Please don't give us another one. It's going to impact our games coming up if we lose 2 of our starting 11. And they've been awarded a free kick. And it looks like that's all they've been awarded. That is all that they've been awarded. And there goes the final whistle. So we get a bit of a reprieve at the end in terms of another red card. But that 5th minute red card from Maurizio absolutely did us in, didn't it, really? And it was just one of those days after that we couldn't really impact the game enough. I'm sure there were things I probably should have, could have, would have, done to make it better, but this was Benfica, and we were already going to struggle with 11 men, let alone 10. But that's football. Sometimes it happens. So with such a challenging loss, we're not going to spend too long over-analysing this performance because ultimately we got defeated by a very good side and we caused ourselves some problems. But there's just a couple of things that I want to come in and just check out to make sure that we're kind of where we need to be. So the XG in the end was not too bad for us in terms of we got a 0.92 and we got a goal. So that's fine. They got 2.71 and got 3. That's kind of what you'd expect, really. They were pretty ruthless when they needed to be. In terms of the average positions, I still think that we're doing pretty well. We're keeping a relatively compact shape. Obviously, today was different because that first 5 minutes we got that player sent off, but we're holding the ball pretty well. You can see the heat map suggests that we've got a lot of ball possession, which is really, that's what we're looking for, really. So if we look in here for the focus of attacks, you can see that we worked primarily down the right-hand side on this particular occasion. And, that's fine, absolutely. If that's the way that our team was set up for this particular game, and that's the area that we found. It wasn't overly successful, but nothing was today particularly, was it? So if we change to the action zones, you can see that we had a pretty good amount of possession in that midfield area, particularly in the attacking vertical tiki-taka style of play that we've got. That's not too bad. We held the ball. We couldn't quite break them down because of that lack of player in the attacking midfield role. Rashid did very well in central midfield. He was basically holding that area himself a lot of the time with some defensive midfield support. So that's, really great. And here's the problem that we had a little bit, that we worked primarily down the right-hand side, but the right-hand side midfielder, Job, was the one that played the worst in our side on this particular day. And that's where we didn't quite manage to get our chances, I think. That we went down a particular side and they didn't perform. We only had the 3 shots at goal for ourselves. We got the 1 goal from it, of course. Only 2 in the penalty area, so that's unfortunate. They absolutely battered our goal, didn't they? I don't know how many shots at goal that is. Let's go and have a look. But they had 24 attempts at goal, and they got 3 goals from it. And we had 4 attempts at goal and got 1 goal from it. That speaks volumes, doesn't it, really? If we just go into the team a little bit, I just want to see, even with 10 men, how many out-of-play passes that we made. So we'll just focus on our own. And it was only 2. So that's great. Unsuccessful passes. It's the crossing that we've got to work on in this side, it feels like, or at least getting the support in the box to get us better options. And of course, the attacking central midfielder wasn't there for most of the game. So 17 unsuccessful passes. And then we had loads of intercepted. Not bothered about these ones. These are clearing the lines. These are the ones we need to eliminate as much as we can. So what's that? Probably about half of them were in this area. Again, it was just one of those really hard days today. So we'll not go overly bad. We're not going to go sort of in their faces about any of this today. It was just one of those days. This is our completed passing map, which is decent enough for what we had and who we had on the pitch. But all in all, it was a difficult day, kind of created by ourselves, really, and specifically Maurizio at the back, who got himself sent off so early. So we'll go into the dressing room. We won't give a particular gesture. We'll just say, let's say, I don't think I'm going to say anything, to be honest. I don't want to build them up falsely, really. And I don't really want to say that I'm really disappointed either. So I think we'll just leave it for today. It was against Benfica. We got beaten soundly by them, but we caused it ourselves a little bit. And there's not much we can do about that now. But here's the positive of this particular episode. And we've got to find one where, take one where we can find one. Now, we've played an extra game than a lot around us, and maybe 2 extra games than some. But we are currently sitting in 14th, 4 places up from where we started a couple of weeks back. We've got another couple of really tricky games to play. Rio Ave are coming up soon, I think in the next game. So we've got to get past them. But after that point, the games get a little easier again, maybe. Some mid-table sides, some lower table sides to play again. And hopefully that's where we're going to be able to pick up our points from. Fortunately, we're not going to be playing Benfica every single weekend. So let's see what the news feed says. We got defeated. Vitinho makes a debut, but it was in really challenging circumstances. Maurizio banned for 1 match. I suspect that might get worse, possibly. Let's see what they say about it. It doesn't really give me any real clear guidance as to whether the decision was right or not. So we're just gonna we're not going to appeal the ban. We're just going to let the fine happen for the code of conduct. My mind went blank for a second there, and that will be fine, quite literally. And then we'll just go and try and forget about this game, really, and move on. 14th position, though, I will happily take at this point. So here we are back in the schedule page, just figuring out what comes next episode. As I say, Rio Ave come next in terms of our game. The game that we're going to be playing next on the next episode will be against Gil Vicente. And I think, if I remember rightly, they're sitting in the lower part of the table themselves. They are directly above us in 13th position. So that's a decent team to come up against soon. If we can get a couple of points here, maybe a win and a draw or something in the next couple of games, 2 wins would be great, but if we could get 4 points, I'd be really happy with that. We have to try and stop the rot, though, of these big sides taking the points away from us. So Rio Ave next for me. Let's see if we can sort of dampen that game down a bit and then get back to winning ways and come hopefully into the game against Vicente with a good amount of morale again to see if we can take some points off a direct rival. Those are the games ultimately that we really, really need to win. So join me for the next episode for that particular match against Gil Vicente. Today just didn't quite work out for us, did it? It was one of those days where we kicked ourselves in the foot early and then we struggled. But that's just the way it works sometimes. So onwards and upwards to the next match and the next episode. Thank you for joining me today. As I said before, subscribe to the channel if you haven't and join my United City community. The more the merrier. Click that like button for me. Help me get seen by lots of other people. Go and check all the links in the description below. Don't forget the podcast on Sunday. And I will see you again on Monday evening for the next episode of Relegation Rescue. Until then, though, take care of yourselves. I'll see you very soon. Bye for now.